That's a hard question, like to answer. I just saw that piece of information today and I was like, mind blown. Anyone who was Lebanese would understand that I might be wrong. Okay, so أنا على طول بفكر بهذا الشيء actually. Women are too emotional. Like you cannot be in a leadership position. To be realistic, I'm very, very confused. They kind of look down on us. It's kind of like scary to think about, but I do see myself somewhere much more successful than I am right now. I know this is gonna sound so cliche. انت فيك تعملي اللي بدك اياه بالحياة. If you have that hungry mindset, you will get there. Honestly, that will literally like it will make me the happiest person ever. Yeah, that's me in a nutshell. It was the best year of my life. Honestly, I can't even remember. I'm like that phase. That was like when I was peaking mentally and Jed. I think I should. I don't know. I think I should do it. خلص, I will. والله. You motivated me.
Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of the AI-Biz Business Show, the show where you'll best learn about business, entrepreneurship, tech, and anything related to money or the world of business. Today with me, my guest is special, Widad Taleb. Widad, welcome to the show. I'll let you introduce yourself. I'm not going to do an introduction of who you are or anything. I'll let you introduce yourself.
Okay. First of all, thank you for having me. Generally, I don't like this part because I hate talking about myself. But yeah, I'm a journalist, basically. I started my career in Lebanon. It first started when I was covering the Lebanese Revolution. That's when, my career started through covering all the protests, all the riots, all the problems, the crisis, etc. And then I had to like relocate to Saudi, and now I relocated again to Dubai, and I'm CNN Business Arabic's senior energy reporter. Yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
I want to go deeper into who are you in this way. Who was Widad 5 years ago, and who's Widad now, and who will Widad be in 5 years?
Oh, okay. So 5 years ago, that was what, 2018? Oh my God. Like that was such a different person back then. Like honestly, I can't even remember. Do you know that لما يصير معك كتير trauma, your memory like it blocks out certain phases of your life. So that phase of my life, I can't even remember who I was. I was someone completely different than who I am today. I was someone very lost. I didn't know what I wanted to do in life. I was surrounded by like so much negativity, so much problems, so many like negative attributes. And then right now, I know what I want. I feel like I'm a much stronger person. I feel like I'm in the right place mentally and emotionally. And I was so far from that like 5 years, 5 years ago. 5 years from now, I have absolutely no idea where I'm gonna be because life can literally take me anywhere. Like I would never say no to any opportunity, to any country to relocate to, or to any like positive experience that I would want to go through. So I really don't know, but I do see myself somewhere much more successful than I am right now because I'm always hungry to do more, and I'm
Okay.
always want to do my life. Yeah.
Have you thought of what does this success look like?
It's definitely not just the money. It's
Okay.
definitely not just the money. It's more of, as a woman, sometimes people they have this misconception of it's beauty, but like there's no content to it. There's no
Right.
like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
Definitely.
so yeah, like I want to reach somewhere where people kind of like appreciate my work, kind of like know who I am in a positive sense, kind of like come back to me when they want to know more about, business or energy markets or what have you, wherever I would end up in 5 years.
Okay.
So I kind of want to build that credibility. And I also kind of want to like be remembered in a good way, if that makes sense.
Why did you choose to why did you choose to take that career path in being a senior reporter, energy senior reporter? Like where did that career path start with you? Where did you get the ideas of okay, this is where I want to go?
Yeah. Funnily enough, it wasn't my like initial plan. Like, you know, it was kind of just like, it kind of just happened. Initially, I was a political reporter in Lebanon and Beirut. I loved doing what I was doing in Lebanon because there was a cause behind it. Like, there was the revolution, there was the economic crisis, people were suffering, people had no access to resources. It was horrible. So, besides doing what I love, it was also kind of like creating an impact. I wouldn't want to say that I was creating an impact, but the work I was doing, you know, me like kind of raising the voice of Lebanese people, that was doing an impact. And then when I moved to Saudi, an opportunity in business journalism just popped up and I just went for it because at that time, anyone who is Lebanese would understand that any opportunity that would pop in front of them, they would just take it just to get out of there. So I was very grateful for it because I kind of excelled in it as well because I studied economics in university. So I was kind of lucky that I got an opportunity where, you know, it kind of matches my educational background. And I just went for it. And, you know, I was kind of just like contacted by CNN and, you know, they kind of offered an energy reporter role because of my extensive coverage of the energy markets in Saudi Arabia. They liked it. And yeah, that's how I got there.
Let's go back and I want this to be because a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people who are young in their journey are listening maybe to this. So if أنا هلا حدا بتخرج جامعة or بلشت
Yeah.
جامعة and I want to take the same career path, become a senior reporter, become a news reporter, a business reporter, what should I do? How can I get there?
You know, there's never a wrong answer to it. I mean, it's all about يعني أنت بدك توصل لمحل. If you want to get somewhere, you have to work so hard to be distinguished because we live in a world where there's so many different, you know, jobs. There's so many different, you know, skills that are required. So if you have that will, if you have the motivation, if you have what it takes, I think that you will definitely like reach to the point where you want to reach. But what's more important than everything is being consistent and having that will, because sometimes you might face certain situations where you would be like, I didn't get this job. Like you would feel so disappointed, you would feel down, you would feel like, you know, the world is ending, your life is over, you're not getting the job you want. But as long as you have that consistent will to get up and try even harder and to understand and to actually believe, I kind of believe in manifestation. So I kind of like believed that I was going to get there and I was visualizing myself getting there and I was working so hard. And I was working hard on myself to not give up and not feel like, I know this is going to sound so cliche, but honestly, it really helped because I was talking to myself constantly on a daily basis. Like, Widad, you failed now, but it doesn't mean you failed in life. Like, you need to get up and just like continue doing what you were initially doing, continue trying to find more opportunities, continue trying to like expand your network of connections. That is so important. Like, I cannot stress how important the circle of connections that you have and how much it contributes to your personal success. So I mean, it's really all about the mindset that you have. If you have that hungry mindset, you will get there. If not now, if not in a year, in a couple of years. And that's like my experience.
I couldn't agree more. I agree on that point. I always tell people who ask this, you want a job or you want a certain career path, don't go on LinkedIn and just submit a resume to every company
Yeah.
you want to work at. You won't get a job. Go in, do your research, look who's your hiring manager,
Yes.
do work.
100%.
And you want to be a content, you want to be a news writer, write news for that company you want to work for and send them your work and show them, okay, this is what I have done. Show them that you're the right person for the right position.
It's all about how you sell yourself, but
Yes,
like that,
exactly.
that's you could be like in the beginning stages of your career. But how I sold my CV is what actually helped because you could be honestly like somewhere in a very not not in the beginning of your career, but somehow like mid-level. And yet your resume, your personal resume, what you say about yourself, even not just your written resume, could not really portray that in the right way. So it really like also depends on that.
I want to jump from here. You're a woman. you're working hard to prove yourself out there. And women in our region, especially the MENA region, have a lot of challenges. I
Yeah.
want to talk about some of the challenges you face, and why do these challenges come up to women, especially?
So are you talking about like challenges in my personal life, or are you talking about like career
Car
wise or
Career-wise, we don't see a lot of women in high position, ranking in high positions. We don't see a lot of women being CEOs, being founders of startups. Why is that?
yeah. Well, I mean that's a hard question like to answer. I mean, maybe it's because women need to believe that they can get to where they want, regardless of the obstacles along the way. I'm not like trying to discredit the obstacles because they're there, they're still present. They have been minimized with, the feminist movement and people kind of like frowning upon um sexism or gender parity in the workplace and what have you.
Right.
But these obstacles are still there. But women need to understand that if they want to get there, they have to somehow do more effort, because there's this general stereotype that women are I've even heard this personally, like women are too emotional, like you cannot be in a leadership position. And my answer is always like, no offense to men, like I am a feminist. A feminist is a person who believes in equal opportunities and equality between males and females. So I'm not like the kind of like extreme feminist who's like, I hate men, I don't want men to but what I say is it's not about emotions, because men rule countries and like they go to war like that. So I mean, it's really
Oh,
not about that. Like, your skill sets, your will, your capabilities, your ability to kind of like run a company or run whatever you're running. So I don't really I can't really answer you as to like why they don't really like attain top positions. I think it's because it's still kind of relatively new. Like civilizations have been present for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, but it's always been patriarchal. Women kind of like stepping in and we want to rule everything, we want to rule the world. That's kind of relatively new. Like only like 100 years ago, we didn't have access to education and to
true.
like. So I think with time, that kind of status quo is going to be more apparent, and things are going to be based on meritocracy rather than based on gender. And we kind of see that shift happening right now. We kind of see that movement happening right now. And I think the effect of it, we're going to see in a couple of years. But I do agree that not a lot of women are in top positions, although they are increasing over time.
Okay.
And it's because they have, the capabilities. And I think it really is a meritocracy right now. I don't think most countries, most companies do their hirings according to meritocracy. They don't really look at gender anymore. Not like time ago.
Okay. So the way we do things have changed and they will continue on changing in the future.
They will continue changing. There are still some obstacles. There are still some places that don't really implement. I mean, the Lebanese parliament has the lowest percentage of women present in parliament in the whole world, for example. And I just saw that piece of information today, and I was like mind blown, because there's kind of a resistance for women to enter parliament, and for that I think we do need like a gender quota. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
there are areas in the world where gender quotas have to be implemented because there's a resistance for women entering into that sector or that workplace. But in places where there's no resistance for women to enter the workplace, there's no gender quota needed because it's merit-based, it's a meritocracy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So from there, how do you think we could empower women to do more? Like you said, you're a feminist. Should we have more feminism out there? Is it by implementing quotas? Is it by changing government regulation? Is it by more education? What is it we could do to empower women more to go out there and get to these
Yeah.
positions, create stuff out in the world?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think, like I said, the gender quota is a school. And actually, I was speaking to one of the Saudi ministers. I interviewed her, and I was asking her about the gender quota. I asked her that you know, in the country, most of the top positions are still male dominated. Why is that? Like, are you planning on implementing more gender quotas there? And she was like, there is no resistance for women to attain these top positions. We just want women to kind of go and apply for these positions. We want women to know that they are they are able and allowed to apply to these positions. So when there's no resistance for that, we don't need a gender quota. So a gender quota is a school for gender equality, but only when there's resistance, such as Lebanon. In Lebanon, there's a lot of resistance for women attaining top positions because they kind of look down on us. And I've worked there and I know what it's like there. And they kind of look down on women like, لا انت بنت ما رح تقدري انت تديري الشركه انه you know what I mean, like انت
Yes.
you're like I told you, like kind of like repeating myself here, but what we can actually do as a society as a whole, I think it's really important to start from a micro level. يعني من البيت كل شخص، اختك، امك, your girlfriend, your wife, your daughter, make her believe that انت فيك تعملي اللي بدك اياه بالحياة وما حدا فيه يوقفك، ما حدا. يعني no one can stand in your way, because that really helped. Because growing up, I always had that idea that, you know, men and women are not equal, because I sensed that, I felt that in my day-to-day activities, I sensed that in school, I sensed that, you know, in my first internship, I sensed that in so many places, I even sensed that in the field when I was reporting. So the community around me, and especially males around me, my father, my brother, my partner, etc., they were always so empowering. Even my mom, even my sister, but that male empowerment for females to kind of like feel safe and feel like, okay, you can do that. You have the capability of doing that. You are your own figure and your own person, and no one has the right to come and dictate your life and dictate what you want to do. My dad always used to say, we're like four siblings in the house. He never used to speak to us like you're a girl, you're a boy. He used to tell me, I treat you the exact same way I treat your brother. What he's not allowed to do, you're not allowed to do, and what you're allowed to do, he's also allowed to do. So I kind of grew up in that mindset, and that's why, you know, I feel more like I feel empowered as a woman. But I think that's really important to kind of like surround yourself as a woman with the right kind of people with the right kind of mindset. And in terms of the workplace, I just really think they should kind of like concentrate more on, you know, policies that prevent gender discrimination in the workplace. There's a lot of countries that are doing a great job in that, but there's also a lot of countries that are not. You know, that's in the private sector. And in terms of governments and, you know, government regulations, there's also a lot of countries that need to do a lot of like a great deal of work still in that area. So yeah, I mean, it's a combination of so many things from micro to macro. So you kind of have to kind of like look at it in each step in order to kind of completely eradicate it. And I still think we would still face a bit of challenges over the coming years until one day it could just like evaporate and vanish, I hope.
Okay. I want to end this section about empowering women with this. Is there an ideal woman you look up for?
That's a good question. An ideal woman I look up for. I mean, I don't want to say my mom, but I feel like it's gonna be a bit cliche. But it actually genuinely is my mother, not because she's my mother, but because she's a really empowered and strong woman. Like she's gone through so much, she's been through so much. She did everything in her power to like provide to us, and I always used to see my parents as equal. Like I never saw that my mom was, you know, kind of like less because she's a woman, or that she's not capable because she's a woman. She
Right.
always went, she got her education at a very late age, by the way, because she couldn't when, you know, when she was in her 20s.
Right.
So
Right.
she got her education, she did what she loves, she traveled, she's kind of like a very, very inspiring woman who I really look up to, and I hope to become half of what she is today in terms of like her mental, you know, her mental strength.
Okay. I love that, and thank you for your mom for raising you and building that
I'm
empowerment. Because I really believe everything we grow up on starts in that family.
yeah.
What we get from the family affects us in all our life. If we see our parents treating each other well, treating each other equally, we get that from them. If the dad treats his little girls well when they're kids, they're gonna grow up to be well
Of
confident women and go out and do great stuff in out in the society. But if that doesn't
course,
happen when they're little in that small family, that wouldn't happen out in the world.
of course.
Uh, I want to jump to a different topic. Uh, I've watched some of your interviews, heard some of the stuff you talk about. You've mentioned ESGs, and again, this is not a financial advice for anyone who's listening. Just a regular conversation to learn more.
I
So, what are ESGs and how are they applied?
That's a good question. ESGs are, it stands for Environment Social Governance. And they are, some people think that ESGs are a thing that you do in the corporate world. But in reality, and after speaking to a lot of, so what I'm saying right now is kind of like what I took as a reporter from all the people I spoke to in the finance sector. ESGs are a framework that companies have to follow or can follow to attract investments. And ESGs are kind of like the new like framework that companies are implementing to go green, to be more sustainable, not just in terms of energy, but also in terms of social and governance. So what does that mean? So E stands for environment, which means companies who have done green initiatives or sustainable initiatives in their reporting can mention that, and that gives them like a plus when someone is coming and doing an overview on that company for other investors to look at. So that's a plus for them in terms of ESGs, because so many investors are kind of like focused on ESGs right now. And the social part is, for example, employee satisfaction, how they treat their employees, what kind of social initiatives that they do. And I've been seeing so much companies like going forward towards that direction and doing all these initiatives and all these social initiatives that have an impact in order to strengthen their ESG reporting and governance. Then that's all about the corporate governance and how the relationship between the management, the employees, how it's like, if they're comfortable in their job, if they're having all their rights, the working hours, etc., and what have you. So that's just like a framework that investors are looking, because everyone wants to invest in green right now because we're in the middle of an energy transition. People want, or the markets or governments and countries want to transform their investments, and they want to transition from investing heavily in oil and gas into investing into green and investing into sustainable
Energy.
sustainable, yeah, not just energy. I mean, sustainable companies, sustainable projects in all senses, because that's where they're headed. But, there's a lot of controversy on that. There's a lot of talk on that, on whether, do we want to invest in oil and gas right now because the energy security is threatened, or do we want to invest in green because the environment, the world, the globe is threatened? So
Right.
that's kind of the big talk, right? That's kind of like the big conversation. Yeah, but in a nutshell, that's what these are.
Okay. No, I appreciate that information. It's something I was curious about, and you providing this. I have my opinions about energy and where we're headed in the next 25 years.
What are your
So I think we're at a,
no,
I think, and no, I love that. I love speaking about it because I think, and I've heard this from, there's a famous investor called Chamath Palihapitiya. He's an investor in Sequoia
yeah,
Capital. Chamath has been speaking about this for the past 2, 3 years, and I recently started grasping what he means. We're at a point where wars happen in the world in general because of oil and gas, because of energy.
yeah.
And this caused a lot of economies to go down. The US recently, a bunch of economies have been going down.
Europe.
Yes, exactly. Europe, what happened between Russia and Ukraine, not to speak about politics or anything, but what happened between them caused the economy to go down because of this energy. I think to solve this problem, we have to find a way to take the cost of energy to zero. And the way we could take the cost of energy to zero is through going green. And by green, I mean solar energy. We have a nuclear plant that's out there. That's the sun. The sun is creating fusion. It's a nuclear power plant out there that could give us free energy. And by this, we could take the cost of energy to zero and solve that energy problem out there. This is
But
kind of
usually,
my
main challenge that everyone is facing right now, you're saying it costs zero, but actually building these plants, building these green plants, they cost a lot of money. They cost a
Yes,
lot of money.
but governments
So
are like, for example, the US has already been spending a lot to support Ukraine in its war.
yeah,
Some of this funding could go to building such solar plants that could reduce that energy. We're already spending this budget on other stuff, so we could take that budget that's being spent to build such solar plants. And not even that, like every home could have a solar panel on top of it and be its own solar generator with the right technicians, with the right system in place. Every home could be the right and the solar panel for itself.
yeah, that's the dream in the future, I hope.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think that's the next decade. This is where we're going.
Yeah, I really hope so, because otherwise I think we're in trouble, like environment wise. I think, scientists are kind of like warning from global warming, and we have to keep Earth's temperature down. We shouldn't let it increase more than that. Otherwise, we're gonna see more environmental disasters. We're gonna see so many like things that we don't want to see as a civilization. So, yeah, I really
Yes,
hope that we go in.
I want to jump from that to going through that path. We're both from Lebanon. Lebanon has an economical crisis, an energy crisis, all kind of crises that we could ever think of. Um, I want to take this young, fresh mentality of what is Lebanon's economical problem? Where does this problem root of?
That is the question that everyone wants to know the answer of. And I've tried to like explain in my view, because there are 10,000 views of why the economic crisis started in Lebanon. كل ما يصير شيء بيطلع حدا بحلل الأزمة الاقتصادية بلبنان سببها هيك هيك هيك. أنا حخبرك بمنظوري أنا، من قرايتي ومن شغلي بلبنان، من حياتي كلها بلبنان، ومن هلأ أنا شو عم بعمل وشو عم بشتغل. شو يعني كيف بشوف الأزمة؟ الأزمة بلبنان هي نابعة عن يعني الهيكلية تبع الحكومة والبرلمان والرئاسة الجمهورية. الهيكلية خلقت شبكات اجتماعية، يعني سمحت للزعماء يلي مسيطرين على هالشبكات الزبائنية تسيطر وتستمر بصلاحياتها يلي هي يعني they are abusing it. Okay, so when you have a set of leaders, 6 or 7 or 8 leaders, monopolizing sectors in the country and controlling the status quo, controlling each and every sector, no matter what sector you're thinking of right now, I'm pretty sure when you go back to who's controlling that or who's monopolizing that sector, it's going to be someone related to someone بالسلطة السياسية اللبنانية. فالأزمة الاقتصادية نابعة عن سوء إدارة وعدم وجود الكفاءات والقدرة على التحكم بالانهيار الاقتصادي. يعني أنت اليوم لما يكون عندك المصرف المركزي اللبناني، اوكي، عم بيدين الدولة مصاري اللي هو بعده لليوم، بعده لهلا، بس ما حدا بقى كثير عم يحكي عن الموضوع، بس بعده لهيدا اليوم عم بيدين الدولة. واخر شيء انا عرفته كان credits that were provided to the Lebanese government فوق ال 300 مليون دولار كرمال قطاع الكهرباء، كرمال نقلات فيول، وكرمال إعادة أعمار معمل كهرباء بلبنان. ما حدا عم يسأل وين هالمصاري، ما حدا عم يسأل شو عم بيصير بالمصاري. فهي سوء إدارة لما أنت يكون عندك مصرف لبنان عم بدين الدولة، والدولة ما عم تعرف تدير هول المصريات وهول الأموال، وعم يعني عم تتبخر sort of. This is how the economic crisis is downward spiraling. لأنه في الشق المالي اللي هو المصارف والمصرف المركزي اللي هن بعدهم عم بيتعاملوا مع هيدي السلطة اللبنانية السياسية، اللي كتير عالم وكتير experts شخصوها بأنها فاسدة ولازم يتحقق معها. ومن شيء تاني عندك الحكم السياسي يلي عم يخلق شبكات زبائنية بقلب المجتمعات بلبنان. يعني عم نحكي عن المناطق، يعني عم نحكي عن الطوائف يلي هن خلقوا هيدا المفهوم تبع انه اذا انت من هالطائفه وانا من هالطائفه، انت خطر على حياتي، من وراء الحرب الاهليه ومن وراء التخويف بالحرب الأهلية اللي بجاية. إذا أنت بتلاحظ كل زعيم سياسي بيطلع بيحكي طائفة بيخوف من الثاني.
صح.
فلما يكون عندك أنت هيدا الريتوريك بالبلد، هن بيقدروا يسيطروا عليك كمجتمع، لأنه أنت بحاجة لحدا يحميك وبحاجة لحدا يعطيك هيدي الموارد الأساسية، لأنه هن بياخذوا الموارد الأساسية بيحتكروها بيتحصصوها، بعدين بيوزعوها على شبكات الزبائن تبعيتهم كرمال يستمروا بالحكم تبعهم. وعندك الشق المالي اللي هن المصارف والمصرف المركزي بعدهم عم يعطوا الباور المادي لهيدي السلطه السياسيه انها تستمر. فالازمه الاقتصاديه بلبنان شيء كثير معقد. هيدا موديل لازم يندرس، انا برايي الشخصي هيدا موديل لازم يندرس يعني لازم يعني لازم عن جد اساتذه الجامعات يعلموه بالمدارس، باللي عم يدرس ايكونومكس، اللي عم يدرس وات ايفر ات از، لانه عن جد it is a very unique model. السكيم يلي صارت، حجم السكيم يلي صارت بالمصارف وبمصرف لبنان كان هائل وكان كبير، وكان شيء حكيوا عنه كل العالم، مش حكيوا عنه المنطقة، مش الميدل ايست، كان شيء خيالي. كان يعني كل البشرية بالعالم، كل بلد بالعالم اطلع على لبنان وقت الأزمة، لأنه من أسوأ الأزمات الاقتصادية يعني نحن احتلينا
top
الجلوبال
position.
هيدلاين. Global
صح.
headlines, like literally global headlines. When I was doing a report about food price inflation, Lebanon was one of the top three in the world next to Zimbabwe. And I think it was, I can't remember what the third country, I think it was Turkey. Or honestly, I can't remember what the third country was, but it was something يعني شيء خيالي، شيء خيالي كان الرقم. فعن جد يعني it's so sad to see like your own country taking like the global headlines in that sense, in a bad sense، انه من أسوأ ازمات الاقتصاديه بالعالم. يعني شو هالتايتل اللي نحن اخذينه
Yeah.
كلبنانيه، عم تفهم شو قصدي؟
Yes.
وبعدنا لهلا ما بدنا نعترف كسلطه انه نحن مخبصين. ولا حدا اليوم طلع قال نحن بنتحمل مسؤوليه. وعندك وزراء، ما بدي اقول بالغرب لانه بكل العالم ويست اند ايست، اذا اخذوا $20 اكثر من البادجت اللي منعطيه لهم بالوزاره بيقدموا استقالتهم. $20. فنحن انت عندك lack of accountability بشكل مخيف which is also contributing to the. وبعدين الثالث شغله اللي كثير مهمه، ما بعرف اذا ثالث او صرنا
أو
بالعشرين،
خامس أحكي الوحدة.
إيه، في هجره للادمغه بلبنان. And there's this brain drain that's happening in Lebanon that people are talking about it now thankfully because there's a lot of awareness on it right now. بس هيدا يلي صار بعد الحرب، لما صار في هديك الأزمة، كان وقتها كتير عالم فلت من لبنان أو تهجرت من لبنان.
صح.
هيدا الشيء كتير مأذي للاقتصاد، كتير مأذي. يعني أنت اليوم ما بقى عندك الكافيهات، ما بقى عندك الأدمغة بالبلد، ما بقى عندك شيء يعني to fuel this economy in the country.
Sure.
ما أنت every needs some sort of fuel for it to run. نحن
Sure.
ما بقى عندنا هيك بلبنان. نحن literally اللي عم نجرب نعمله هلا بلبنان كلبنانية هو بس نعيش day to day، نأمن حاجاتنا الأساسية on a day to day basis. وعم بحكي عن كل الطبقات، مش عم بحكي بس عن الطبقة اللي يعني الطبقة الوسطى أو الطبقة اللي تحتها، عم بحكي عن كل الطبقات. يعني من literally كل العالم اللي هلا أنا بعرفهم اللي بعدهم عايشين بلبنان عم بيعانوا on a day to day basis, and that's very very unfortunate.
هنا عن سبب الأزمة. Again from a fresh young point of view، شو الحل؟ بنقول السلطة، بنقول انتخابات، بنقول هاي. let's say we couldn't do that. is there في solution اقتصادية بس نقدر نحل فيها؟ يعني بيقدر يجي البرايفت سيكتور، بنقدر نجي نحن كاندفيدجوالز نغير ونحسن.
عم تحكي انه نزيد الاستثمارات مثلا بالقطاع الخاص؟
yes. would
هيدا
that
منه
solve the
حل.
problem? okay.
لا، هيدا المشكله، انه المشكله again المشكله بالجذور، المشكله باللي مين متحكم. يعني انا هلا لنقول حاعطيك اكزامبل، انا هلا معي $1,000,000 اوكي، وبدي اروح استثمر بما بعرف بدي افتح شركه، بدي اوزع سولار بانلز على لبنان. I don't think it's that easy because في حدا محتكر هذا السوق بلبنان وما رح يسمح لكومبيتيتور يفوت على السوق. مثل ما هلا ما فيك انت مثلا تاسس شركه اتصالات بلبنان لانه عندك already a monopoly in that sense, and you cannot come and just like decide والله انا بدي اجي افتح. you can in the sense of small businesses، بس انك تفوت وتعمل heavy investments بالبلد بظل هيدا الوضع وبظل الفساد اللي عم بيصير وبظل الاحتكار الاقتصادي اللي عم بيصير، هيدا الشيء مستحيل. هيدا الشيء بينعمل لما يكون عندك انت political stability، لما يكون صار political reforms. هون ساعتها اصلا الانفسترز حيفكروا يستثمروا بلبنان. واي ثينك انه كتير كتير صعبه، لانه ما بعتقد انه هيدي الثقه رح تنبنى هيك بهالسهوله. فانا بالنسبه لإلي الحل هو بناء دوله مدنيه. هلا حنفوت شوي politics اذا بدك خبرك شو الحل، لانه الحل هي to fix الانفراستراكشر political and social infrastructure. السوشيال اهم من البوليتيكال، لانه بالنهايه لبنان بلد ديمقراطي وفي الفوتينج procedure و there's a democratic process to elect the people in power, and we tried to do that in the last elections as a people. And I mean, in the sense of did we get change and peace into the parliament? Yes we did. هن عم بيعملوا شيء تيغيروا، هيدا غير حديث ما بدي فوت فيه.
Okay.
بس there is a democratic process. to change that social infrastructure and the social perspective on how politics should work in Lebanon, that will take generations. بالنسبة لإلي this is my personal opinion. لأنه هيدا الشيء كتير it's heavily deeply rooted into the Lebanese mindsets، لدرجة إنه مثل ما قلت لك لأنه في تخوف من الآخر وتخوف، يعني بيخافوا على وجودهم في أزمة وجودية. هيدا الشيء رح يكون كتير صعب لحتى ينعمل هلا. فأنا هلا on the medium run I don't see like a tangible solution for the economic crisis. I see مثل إنه شوية تنفيذ، يعني شوية like handling of the crisis. It's not gonna like downward spiral the way it was, but the crisis is still gonna be there. Yeah, but I mean, I hope I'm wrong, honestly. Like, I would never want that for my own country, but I hope I'm wrong. I hope by some miracle something happens, people kind of wake up and just like, see things for what they really are and see مصلحتهم الأكبر. لأنه هن بالنسبة لهم رح يخسروا كتير by giving up on their political leaders, if you want to call it, for so many different reasons. يعني ما بدي فوت فيهم بالتفاصيل، بس في شبكات زبائنية اجتماعية كتير صعبة تنخرق لأنه هن معتمدين عليها ليستمروا بالعيش كناس كعالم. فهذا الشيء لتخرقه بدك إنه شوي الشعب يتقبل إنه هو رح يكون عم بيتعذب لفترة، بس on the longer run رح يلاقي نتيجة. I hope إنه إن شاء الله إنه نقدر نلاقي هيدي النتيجة.
I love your answer. أنا the way I've dealt with وقت الثورة كتير تأثرت I've been living here in the US for the past 6-7 years, so I've left Lebanon before ما تبلش الثورة يعني in 2016. كل my family بعدهم بلبنان بس أنا I'm here in the US. وقت الثورة I was like all over the place. My mind wasn't functioning well. من بعدها I felt إنه there's a lot of information going down وفي كتير قصص عم بتصير. It was tiring for me. So I started to take a step back and work on myself as an individual and improve myself as an individual and try to improve the people around me. I think that will contribute more to the problem than just reading and following the news. وهيك. Just focus on myself and my surrounding as an individual to improve and get better.
So أنت وقت الثورة كنت بأمريكا؟
in America.
Oh my God. أنا مثلك. أنا أول ما بلشت الثورة I was actually in Germany.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, and then لما بلشت الثورة ما كملت، لأنه أنا كنت أحلم literally أحلم إن العالم عن جد رح تقوم. فلما قامت الثورة أنا كنت بألمانيا، ما كملت الشهر بألمانيا بعد ما بلشت بعد 17 تشرين، وأخذت قرار إنه بدي أرجع لبنان تحت أكون part of it. فدغري وعائلتي دبينا أغراضنا ورجعنا، يعني ما مشي من وقتها.
You took
هيك
off.
صار.
طيب. I'm coming down to my last two questions. If you were to start a startup on your own, what would this startup or business be?
اوكي سو انا على طول بفكر بهيدا الشيء اكشلي. يعني انا على طول بفكر انا اذا بدي اظهر من الميديا شو بدي أعمل يعني let's say أنا مثلا 5 years 10 years from now I want to do a career change I want to go into something else بدي أفتح my own thing شو هو حيكون ولهلا ما عندي جواب واضح وصريح يعني أنا بدي أكون صريحة معك هلا في اخترع لك حيلا شيء ويقول لك أنا بدي أعمل هيك وبدي أعمل هيك بس to be realistic I'm very very confused because نحن عايشين بمرحلة هلا بحياة an era of extremely fast everything يعني consumers are fast the internet is fast everyone's fast الواحد بيعرف عنك بيرجع بيزهق منك بعد نهار but one bad experience and you can like this place is cancelled so it's kind of like scary to think about the startup right now but I definitely want it to be related to social impact in some way this is like literally my dream to do something that gives back to the community and to do something that helps others like empowering others or giving others courses maybe I want to be a teacher ما حدا بيعرف يمكن بدي افتح ما بعرف معهد درس something in it but as long as it's serving a purpose and helping others honestly that will literally like it will make me the happiest person ever because I thrive and I get my energy from seeing people around me happy and getting positive like positive ما بعرف
like
effects from
effect.
yeah
Okay.
yeah so like that really like makes me feel ecstatic so I really hope that one day I can do and I try to do that I try to do that in my job as a reporter I try to like speak to people I try to like get their voices to be heard I always used to love my social reporting when I worked with Joe Malouf it was the best year of my life because I was doing two things I love social impact and reporting so I was going and I was speaking for the people I was talking about their pain I was talking about their atrocities I was talking about what they're going through their horrible experiences and I was helping them حتى مش بس بالريبورت مش بس انه it's not just the production
Outside,
of the report it's
outside of it,
before as well
after. Okay.
I had so much so مش بس انا وكل الفريق وحتى جو يعني I had so much connections with so many people I met so many amazing people who had gone through so much in their lives that we tried to help them we kind of like reported on their situation we kind of like got their voices out there and then after we kind of like maintained that connection وانا يعني لهلا كمان انا وجو very very good friends هو كمان حدا كتير يعني كان معانا بحياته
Yes,
رجع طلع
I
هلا yeah
he's coming back from it. I've heard the story.
yeah so these kinds of people like the people I was surrounded with كجو's team كمان we all have similar stories and we all have the same purpose and that I'm like that phase that was like when I was speaking mentally عن جد انه it was such a هيك it was such a nice experience for me in life so I definitely want to go back and do something like that just maybe media
Okay. Last question.
my
Let's say you have,
yeah كتير بحكي
I, I love it. The point of the podcast is to hear what people have to say. It's a learning
yeah
for me. I enjoy learning
maybe
how people think.
I usually ask the questions I don't usually speak
So it's whenever you want to speak, yes, book time on my calendar and let's do a different podcast. Whenever you feel like you have a lot to say.
I was actually thinking about I want to start my own podcast but like I'm not used to talking that much يعني خلص I'm used to just asking the questions and listening فيا اليوم I was thinking about it as well I think I should do I don't know I think I should do it
You should do it. You should do it. I
I'm
encourage
starting my own
everyone.
podcast
You should. Amjad, you should. Everyone who has like anything you think about that you want to put out there, Amjad, put it out there. Don't
yeah
hesitate and just put it out there.
yeah خلص I would والله you motivated me
You should do it. Let's say you have an investment fund. The fund is yours, and I told you invest in anything you want. What would you invest in?
oh I like your questions what would I invest in I would invest in a startup for sure a startup in what sector? I would definitely invest in a startup that has to do with sustainability, maybe sustainable energy, maybe sustainable solutions. Yeah, definitely. But I would definitely invest in a small business.
What country would that be in? Do you have a specific country that you think it's
I
booming? I would invest in that country or
I mean, the Middle East, the GCC, according to my readings, is one of the most like their economies are just like doing
I
so.
agree.
Yeah, like their economy is really like strengthening at an unprecedented rate. So that's what I would do. I'm not giving any financial advice. I might be wrong, but yeah, maybe that's
Okay.
where I would go.
With that, I think we had an amazing episode. We literally spoke
Oh,
everything from
missed.
we spoke literally everything from social impact to economy to startups to business to empowering women. We covered
Yeah,
everything. I like your honesty. I like how you just speak. You're just a bubble that's speaking what you have on your mind, and I love
yeah,
that energy about. I just amazing energy. Keep on doing that energy. I watched some of your reports. Keep on giving that energy in the reports. Keep on asking the
yeah.
right questions. And
Thank you. You're very kind.
I want to appreciate you being on the podcast. Any message? Where could people follow more of what you're doing? Where could people listen to what Widad thinks more? And where should people follow you?
I mean, yeah, I don't know, like just follow me on my on my Instagram with that as Talib, and I mean whoever has any questions or whoever wants to know more about what I was speaking, because I feel like my strong point is Lebanon because that's where I'm from, that's where I did most of my reading, most of my work. So I mean, I used to get a lot of these questions before when I was really active on, the situation in Lebanon and what have you. So if anyone has anything they want to know about, just hit me up. I love speaking to people. I'm just like you, like I love having conversations. And yeah, I'm really sad that this podcast is already over. Like I felt like it was nothing. It was like 2 minutes.
It's I loved it. I really felt it was really quick. So this is why
Yeah,
you're gonna book another slot for the next month, and we're gonna do this every month. You're gonna come on and speak whatever you have on your mind.
خلاص. I'm always happy and I'm always honest and I'm always speaking exactly what's on my mind.
And perfect. I love that. With that, again, thank you for being here.